There is so much smoke in the air, and we are all going to die.
I will admit I wanna be there for you. All of the times that you helped me through. Hate that you think that I would just ignore you. Second degree, looking me back into. I will admit I wanna be there for you.
Texas singer and songwriter Hannah Jadagu has released their debut album, Aperture. They are signed to a pretty big and known label, Sub Pop, and have produced a fairly polished piece of indie pop with some crunchy guitars and some decent hooks. There have been a lot of women-fronted indie pop albums released this year that I have personally reviewed for this channel, and I was worried going into this that we were going to get more of the same. In some ways, that is true. There are going to be similarities here, of course, and that isn't necessarily bad. But even though this isn't the best album of this genre coming out this year, it is still a very good record. The album opens with the very chill and spacious track, Explanation. The song sees Hannah questioning faith and also questioning themselves, with the song ending on a question rather than an answer. Nothing is resolved, of course, and eventually the song picks up with these washed out drums just to give us a taste of what will follow on the album. The track Say It Now is a pretty standard indie pop rock tune. There is this guitar sound that sounds overproduced and washed out and hangs in the back, and it actually sounds really neat. It is these subtle experiments that makes Hannah's music stand out from her peers. Lyrically, this song is pretty straightforward, yet relatable. It is about tensions in a relationship, whether romantic or platonic, when you can tell someone is upset with you and they are giving you the silent treatment. Lyrically and musically, the song is nothing mind-blowing, but it is super catchy, and it is an obvious choice for one of the album's lead singles. The song 6 Months references in an indirect way the title of the album, Aperture, in the sense that Hannah compares looking back on a past relationship as to the focusing of the lens of a camera. In the song, she decides she is not going to look back anymore. She is moving on instead, while reflecting on the fact that the person she is leaving is also stuck thinking about the past. In fact, all he seems to think about is someone other than Hannah. I do appreciate that even though Hannah is singing about not thinking about the past, the song is reflecting on this relationship, so even she can't seem to follow her own advice. There is also this nice audio metaphor regarding the camera. During the verse, her voice sounds very compressed before seemingly coming into focus during the chorus. The drums on this track are also huge and explosive and add a lot of energy to what is otherwise a more subdued track. There are also a lot of cool sounds sprinkled throughout, similar to the previous tracks, including this massive string section that swells during the chorus and wild synths that play throughout. It is a huge and engaging song and one of my favorites on this album. The greatness continues with the song What You Did. The song combines this 90s alternative rock sound with the indie rock dream pop of bands like Beach Fossils and Wild Nothings, both of which, I should add, she recently went on tour with. The song is about being manipulated, discovering it, and then being angry about it. The chorus builds to this epic accusation with Hannah just directly stating, "I know what you did." We then get another catchy pop tune with Lose. It is another straightforward relationship song about having a crush, but feeling scared to act on it for fear of losing the other person. The song has a very polished pop rock sound. It feels very radio ready, but there are also these weird guitar riffs and distorted synths that add a little edge to it, especially during the bridge, which has this almost disgusting sounding synth solo, but I love it. We then get another incredible track with Admit It. This song feels so huge and vast, but in the sense of playing in some large empty hall. In that way, it's like big but also isolating. The song is about reversing the roles of being there for someone, when this is someone that usually is there for you to rely on, but now they need you. The song's grandness conveys the desire to be there, but there is this subtle sadness as Hannah is realizing her own faults and failures in being able to be there for someone. It is well written and a unique idea that makes for a great song. Dreaming continues with the bangers as Hannah sings about how she dreamed her crush was with someone else, only for it to come true. It has this great chorus with Hannah singing, "And I'm dreaming about you screwing me over." We then get the more dream pop song Shut Down. There are some enjoyable moments here, but some production choices slightly frustrate me. There are these moments where other voices, they sound like additional vocal layers that Hannah had sung, are sort of washed out in the background, but they almost feel out of tune and sort of distract me from what is being sung. Now, there is a sense in which they're supposed to sound that way because the song is about shutting down, and having it feel like it's going out of tune is some sort of metaphor for shutting down. But to be honest, the dissonant sounds can just be a bit too overbearing here. That being said, I do like that she is trying to take some risks here rather than playing it safe. The album does get right back to it though, with the smooth track Warning Sign. This is an R&B inspired track that has these moments where it feels like the song is going to fall apart. Not in the way that the last song tried to convey that, but in just having these weird, distorted beats. There really is no other way to describe it, but it sounds incredible. Hannah has stated that the song is about the music industry, as Hannah seems to want to put her foot down to some demands, but also doesn't want things to fall apart. There seems to be this tension between playing it safe and also being your own advocate. The switch up of the music as well, compared to the rest of the album, feels like a statement of not being forced into one lane or one box. But the subtle experimentation here does connect it to the overall project. Sadly, after that song, we get another dud with the song Scratch the Surface. This is a more produced track with sequenced drumming and repeats some of the lyrical themes of earlier songs. There is a really neat, weird, distorted guitar solo at the end of the song, but it isn't enough to make the rest of the song interesting for me. The song Letter to Myself is a much more subdued track, but again sees Hannah questioning her faith. She sings about giving her life up to a man that she's never met, which almost sounds like some kind of arranged marriage, but could also be a kind of baptism. She references the first track, which began these kind of explorations, by singing, "I thought I found my explanation, but lately there's been confrontation." The song is primarily this acoustic song, but with this ongoing distortion in the background, as if Hannah's thoughts are clouded, only to become slightly more clear during the chorus. It is an alright song. I just wish it explored these themes more thoroughly throughout the album, rather than just on these two tracks. We then end with a reflection on depression with the song Your Thoughts Are Your Biggest Obstacle. The song feels a little bit aimless. There are some cool ideas though, like the weird stereo synth pulsating throughout much of the song. But it only builds to this weird acoustic outro, which on its own sounds cool, but feels sort of detached from the rest of the song. This album definitely had a stronger first half, but even at the back end, there were some solid tunes. I do appreciate some of the risks taken on this album, even if they don't always work out. But when they do work out, Hannah creates these solid pop rock bangers that are just incredible and worth singing along to. They also contain just enough edge and experimentation to make them interesting. For a debut album, this is a great start, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do in the future. I would give this album a 7.5 out of 10. Did you like this album? Let me know in the comments below. Even if you didn't like the album, let me know in the comments below. You can like the video, subscribe to the channel, All of that helps. Or you could just watch. You could just be a passive watcher and just watch.